So this week's Employee of the Week is Javier Escalante. He's here with us today. He's from our transit department, and we're going to tell you about his story about saving a life and really going above and beyond. Javier put his own safety aside to try to save the lives of individuals inside of a burning home in the city of Albuquerque. Go back to August 8th of last year. Javier was driving through a neighborhood on his day off. And we talk about this a lot. Our police officers, our firefighters, our employees, a lot of these stories are about what they do on their day off when they're not on duty. So it was Javier's day off, and he was driving through a neighborhood when he noticed that there was smoke literally pouring out of a residence in a nearby home in Albuquerque. He pulled over. He rushed inside of the house to find a woman who told him that her mother and brother were still inside the house, even though there was smoke billowing from it. So Javier, putting his own safety aside, rushed into the house, and he found Samuel Garcia trying desperately to get his mother, who was trapped in a different area of the house. Javier was able to see how weak that Samuel had become due to smoke inhalation, and he quickly got him out of the house, saving his life. Javier was unable to save the woman's life, unfortunately, that day, but thankfully for Javier's heroic actions, the Garcia family still has a son and a brother. A week after the fire, Javier was selected to receive Channel 4's Pay It Forward. You may have seen that on Channel 4. Thank you for doing that. And he got his $400 reward for his actions, but he didn't keep the money. He donated those dollars to the fund to help the Garcia family that they had set up. So once again, a brave man, a humble guy, a truly incredible, inspiring story, and a great public servant. And you're this week's Employee of the Week, and I want to thank you. Bruce is going to say a few words, and I've got a few things for you, Javier.
Sure. I'm here, thank you.
What more can you say? It's obviously above and beyond, and just thankful for Javier, his actions. Glad he works for the transit department. Glad he works for the city of Albuquerque. I'm just glad he lives in Albuquerque, one of our fellow citizens. Thanks.
Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate it. So, Javier, what we do is we have an Employee of the Week mug that we give out, and then we also have a certificate that's Employee of the Week, and we have a letter for your personnel file as well. So, just want to say thanks, man, for everything you do. I know we've got Bruce Aziri, Vanessa Baca is here. She's our PIO. Annette Pice is our Associate Director, is here today. We've got Steph, is it Meyerheim?
Stephen Meyer.
Stephen Meyerheim is our Assistant Transit Manager, and Jim Carrillo is our Maintenance Manager. Jim?
Right here.
There you are. How you doing? And I want to thank everybody at Transit for the great work that you do. And Javier, thank you so much for saving a life, man, putting your life in danger. We appreciate you very much. Thank you. So this week's Friday's Heroes obviously are from the Albuquerque Police Department. We've got Officer Chermaine Carter. Chermaine, so who do you got with you today?
My grandma and my dad.
Your grandma and your dad. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming today. We've got Officer Josh Trujillo.
Here.
Any family with you today?
No, sir.
No, they left you high and dry today. Okay, then we got Sergeant Dave Rogers as well. Sergeant, thank you for being here. Also, Dodi Commander Camacho is here with us today. So thank you, Dodi. We appreciate that. And Chief Eden's got a few words to say. Today we're going to talk about crisis intervention training. And as most of you know, the Albuquerque Police Department is the first, and I think the only department of our size in the United States at this point in time who has trained the majority of our officers on crisis intervention training, and it's really making a difference. We're trying to equip our dedicated public professionals with the tools that they need to save lives, to de-escalate, to help people who are dealing in crisis get through that incident, keep the officers safe, and keep the community safe. And today is a story about that. We have 3 officers, as I said, from the Albuquerque Police Department whose quick actions and use of their crisis intervention training, I think fairly recent training, was this part of this latest round of training that we've had at the department, saved the life of a suicidal individual in our city. As I said, we have Sergeant Dave Rogers with us, Officer Chermaine Carter, and Officer Josh Trujillo. On June 6th of 2015, Officers Carter and Trujillo were dispatched to the parking structure at 4th and Copper to respond to a suicidal man who was threatening to jump. Once they arrived on the scene, they found the subject lying on the 5th story, just inches away from the edge. Officer Carter immediately began utilizing his crisis intervention skills and started a conversation with the man that lasted 45 minutes. So he slowed things down, started calmly talking to the individual. Meanwhile, Officer Carter and Sergeant Rogers formulated a plan to pull the individual back to safety. When the man was calmed down and got to a point where they felt like they could move in, Sergeant Rogers was able to get a hold of the individual, pull him away from the ledge. And so not only did they avoid a very tragic situation, they actually had to take actions as police officers to try to help this individual get out of that crisis situation. So there was a combination of talking, negotiating, but then when the time came to jump into action to get this person away from the ledge, they jumped in and got that done as well. This has been a product of APD and the Mental Health Advisory Committee collaboration. It is also something that we did put into our settlement agreement. Even though we were doing this before the settlement agreement, this is something that we put in because we wanted that memorialized. We want to make sure that in the future this crisis intervention training gets done. So up to date, up till today, we have 97% of our APD field officers that have been through this 40-hour crisis intervention training. It is now standard curriculum at the academy. So when all of the new cadets come out of the academy, they've already had that training. I believe it puts us certainly in a national leadership position on that. And at the end of the day, it's saving lives, and it's helping us de-escalate situations that could otherwise turn tragic. The Albuquerque Fire Department is now also receiving training on the crisis intervention training for 911 dispatchers and operators, so that they can work with PD when there's a call out, so that everybody's kind of on the same page talking about what we can do to help people that are in crisis. So I want to thank you for your patience and your determination, and really a well-executed plan that day to save someone's life. And so I'm happy to honor Officer Carter, Trujillo, Sergeant Rogers as this week's Friday's Heroes. And I know that Chief Ian has a few words to say as well. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Last year, all three of these officers were presented with the Albuquerque Police Department Outstanding Service Award. And it was because of the acts that they did in saving this man's life. What's kind of interesting is you can tell that the sergeant is kind of a petite person. And their plan is to have Officer Carter continue to talk to this person that was suicidal. And Josh and the sergeant put together a plan. And what they were able to do, this man was so close to the ledge, they were afraid that if they got too close, that he would fall, or might see their plan in action and may go ahead and jump. But the plan that they put together saved this person's life. And it's through the expertise and the knowledge that they received not only in the CIT training, but it's the fact that they put together a plan that made this so successful. And they were able to pull this man to safety. And I still don't think he really understood how quickly you guys were able to pull him off that ledge. It was an element of surprise, and if you want to talk to them individually about their master plan, I'll tell you, I was so proud of them. I don't want to mess up their plan, but I can tell you this, is that all three of them are heroes, and all three of them, because of them working together the way they did, and thanks to the leadership of the sergeant, we saved a person that day. So thank you so much. And to the families, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. You're a significant person with us. We mean it. You did a great job, Dad.
Yeah.
You did.
Good.
Grandma, you too.
So we have, what we do is we have this Friday's Heroes coin that we've commissioned for this specific purpose that we award to our Friday's Heroes. And so with gratitude as a mayor and in our community, I present you with this week's award. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it, Sergeant. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Officer, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And I want you to think a little bit about, police officers, so many times we think they are the enforcers of the law. But they're really also guardians in our community, and this is a perfect example of that. We ask our police officers not just to enforce the laws, but to really, they get face to face with crisis situations on a regular basis. So I'm just really, it's a difficult job, and it can be an awfully dangerous job. So I just want to thank you for what you do and for your leadership. So we appreciate you. So stick around. We'll take